All right, welcome back to another live stream with us at Goose Apple Books. Today we're going to actually do a chapter from this book, Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. This is probably our most popular book. In our live streams previously, we've mostly been using the grammar book for our live streams, but today I'm going to do another chapter from here. And I probably won't do the whole chapter. The first couple pages or so, I'll go through and we'll practice some Korean, specifically how to practice sort of understanding how you can make sentences in Korean, how you can combine different words, different grammar forms together to make good, well-developed sentences in Korean. It uses language that is, I think, easy enough for beginners to understand, but also is natural and includes more interesting things than just the simple basics, like my name is this and all those sorts of sentences. So the whole premise of this book is that it's about learning Korean using prompts. So that's kind of the whole foundation of this book and how it's been based, but it's been designed for beginners. So we've tried to make it in a way that beginners can still follow it. I'm glad you're here on time too. Welcome back. So we've up to chapter 4. I have done previous chapters and they're on YouTube if you want to watch them. But today we're in chapter 4 and the question is 베이킹을 할 수 있어요? So this means, can you bake? So this is the prompt that we're going to be looking at today in this live stream. We're going to be looking at how to understand sentences about this prompt, how to make sentences about this prompt. 안녕, hello. So how this prompt is built up, we have baking, which is the word for baking. We also have there's a breakdown here as well. But this is the object particle. The object particle, because we're doing an action. The action we're doing is 하다. 하다 is to do. It's a very, very common verb you'll see used all the time. So 베이킹을 하다 is to do baking. And now we have this 을 수 있다 grammar form. This is one that we're going to be practicing in this live stream. And it means to can do something. When you use this 을 수 있다 form, it means that you can do something. And lastly, we have present tense. And it's a question. We have a question mark that tells us it's a question. So, Katarina, hi, hello. So this is this prompt. Can you bake? 베이킹을 할 수 있어요? Can you bake? So let's look at an example answer to this prompt. So we'll go line by line. So this is an example answer that you could say to the prompt, can you bake? The first line says, 아니요, 베이킹을 잘 못해요. 잘 못해요. So what does this mean? Well, this first thing, it just means no. This is a pretty common word in Korean. You're probably familiar with this word. It just means no. 아니요 means no. Baking, again, is the word for baking. Now, in Korean, they do have a verb, 굽다, which means to cook in the oven. But for things like making cakes and cookies and bread and things like that, it's common to use baking 하다 as well. You can also use this verb for these things as well. It's a irregular verb, so be careful with it. But in this example, we're going to use baking 하다. So 베이킹을 잘 못해요. So 잘못 is a very useful little grammar form that means not well. So for things that you can kind of do, but you're not very good at, you're not that great at, you can use 잘못 to talk about those things. It means not well. So baking, not well, I do. 해요 is to do. So literally in Korean, it's like, no, baking, not do well. But we'd probably say something like, no, I'm not a very good baker, or I can't really bake, something like that, right? It's true for me. Certainly, I can't bake very well. I'm not a very good baker. So this is the sort of thing that I might say as well. So what's this next line? This next line's a little bit longer, so we'll break it down though. 안녕하세요. So we have this first word, 자주. 자주 연습해도 이제까지 만든 것들을 다 망쳤어요. Okay, so we've got kind of a long sentence, but let's look at it bit by bit. So this first word, 자주, just means often. It's just a vocabulary word that means often. And next we have 연습하다. 연습하다. Question, what kind of book is that? This is called Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. So 자주 연습해도. So 연습하다 means to practice doing something. But we also have this 해도, which is a grammar form. It's a little bit of an intermediate grammar form. You may not know it, but basically it usually translates to even if, or sometimes even though. So even if, something else is the result. So even if. So in this case, 자주 연습해도 means even if I practice often, even if I put a lot of time into it, even though I, practice pretty regularly. Next thing, what do we have next? 이제까지. So 이제 means now. It's pretty similar to 지금, but 이제 means now, and 이제까지. 까지 is until. 까지 means until. It's commonly used with 까지 and 부터. 부터 and 까지, from and until. But in this case, 까지 means until. So until now, even though I practiced often, until now, 안녕, hello, 만든 것들을. Okay, so this is a combination of a couple different things. So first we have 만든 것. 만든 것 equals, this is a combination of 만들다. Does anyone recognize this verb? Does anyone know what 만들다 means in Korean? 안녕, hello. 만들다. To make. Yes, Colleen, that's it. Perfect. 만들다 means to make. So this 만든 것 is this verb, 만들다, to make, plus 것. This 는 것 is things that you did in the past. Past things. This 것 actually literally means thing, and this 는 at the bottom, it's like sometimes you see it with an on top, 것. This 는 on the bottom means that it's something that was in the past. Things that I've made, yeah. So 만든 것 is things that I have made. It's kind of long in English, but in Korean it's pretty short. It's just 만든 것. I often find actually that in Korean you can put a lot of information in a very small quantity of things. This book is called Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. And this is the title cover image of this book. Yeah, here it is. You can take a screenshot if you like to find it later if you're interested. Thank you. Okay. So, this 만든 것 means things that I have made. Now we have 들. 들 is the plural particle. So it's when you want to say, multiple things. So, 만든 것 by itself could just be a single thing that I made. But 만든 것들 specifically means multiple things that I have made. I read the grammar book and I'm so excited. Yay, I hope you like it. You're welcome. So this the is the plural particle, and it makes it plural. Now, this plural particle is a little bit different than English. In English, you have to use plurals all the time. Korean, it's a lot more optional, but in this case, we have used it. The grammar book is amazing. Yay, I'm so glad you like it. And this here is just the object particle. Same as this here, it's the object particle because this noun, this is a noun, is the object of some verb. So what verb are we using? We're using this 망쳤어요. Now this, I'm not sure if anyone knows what this verb is. You can see if anyone in the comments recognizes this verb. It's maybe not a super common word, but maybe in context you can guess what this word means in Korean. Where am I from? I'm from New Zealand, originally. 망쳤어요. Given that this person, or me, is whoever's speaking, is not good at baking, how do you guess everything they've made so far has gone? 망쳤어요. 망했다 plus ed. Yeah. 망하다 is actually a similar word as well. I'm from Korea. Hello. Badly, maybe. Yes. Eda with Emily. Yeah, everything's gone badly. Everything's failed. Everything's been ruined. Badly. Yes. And this ta as well is all. So everything, all of it, has just been bad. It's gone badly. So from the top, love your work. Thank you. And thank you for the roses. I love that. Thank you so much. 자주 연습해도 even though I've practiced often, 이제까지 만든 것들을 everything I've made so far, everything I've made until now has been a disaster. It's failed. Okay, that's certainly true for me. I have made cakes that even the chickens would not eat. So I've definitely had some failures in my time. Can't say but wanted to say thank you for your lives and YouTube videos. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, so what about this last line? Our final line in this sentence is 베이킹을 잘하고 싶지만 아직도 어려워요. Okay, so what does this mean? I can relate. Yeah, me too. This book is Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. So we've got 베이킹을 잘하고 싶지만. Let's break this down. So we've got 잘. So this is actually one half of this thing up here. 잘못 is not well. This 못 is the not part. But 잘 by itself means well. So well 하고 싶지만. Okay, so this is actually two things combined. We have 고 싶다 and we have 지만. So 고 싶다 is things that you want to do. So 베이킹을 잘하고 싶다 is I want to bake well. I want to be good at baking. I want to bake well. Yeah, Colleen, perfect. But this 지만 means but. So I want to bake well. I want to be a good baker, but something else is going on. 아직도 어려워요. So what does this mean? 아직도, you could treat it as kind of a vocabulary word, meaning still. Now, I've put this still in capital letters because this 아직 by itself means still. But when you add 도, this particle 도 to the end, it makes it feel stronger. So it's like I still, something like that. So 아직 by itself also means still, but when you add 도, it makes it stronger. So I've put it in capital letters to emphasize that. I still 어려워요. 어려워요. You guys probably recognize this word. What does 어려워요 mean in Korean? And I see people have already been saying it in the comments, so good job. I feel like I can actually know things. I want you to be my tutor. Thank you, guys. Valet Karump, yes. It's still hard, or it's still difficult. It's still hard. Even though I want to bake well, right? Like I want to be good at baking, but it's still hard for me. I still can't really do it. So that's what we have. So from the top, if we go through this all again one more time. Can you bake? 베이킹을 할 수 있어요? 베이킹을 할 수 있어요? 아니요, 베이킹을 잘 못해요. 자주 연습해도 이제까지 만든 것들을 다 망쳤어요. 베이킹을 잘 하고 싶지만 아직도 어려워요. 정말 잘한다. Thank you. 감사합니다. No, I can't bake very well. Even though I practice often, everything I've made until now has all failed. I want to be good at baking, but I still find it difficult. So that's what this paragraph means. So even if you're at a beginner level, if you take some time with it, you break it down, you are actually able to understand some fairly, complex grammar combinations and sentences going on. And you can learn to write like this as well. And this is what this book is all about. It's about trying to get people to read and understand their own sentences like this. What is 망쳤어요? 망쳤어요 means to fail or do badly at something. You're welcome. So if you do get this book in the end, I did this breakdown myself, but it actually does come with a breakdown as well. So that if you are using this book for self-study, you can see the breakdown on your own. And it also has a color matching to the grammar forms. So grammar forms are color-coded as well to help you understand. This book is called Conversational Korean Grammar. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you guys like it. Okay, and also people have mentioned the grammar book. I know people in this live stream have actually bought our grammar book already, and this color system matches colors in our grammar book. So if you do end up buying our grammar book, Conversational Korean Grammar, we have lessons on each of these grammar forms color-coded as well. Okay, so next we are going to talk a little bit more about some grammar. And we're going to see these grammar forms used in other sentences to help you see and get a feeling for how they work. How far along are you in the book? It looks like you're pretty far. Right now, we're only in chapter 4 out of 24. So we're pretty early on in the book, actually. This book is kind of designed for people who already kind of have some knowledge of Korean, already have some foundation in Korean, but they just want to, thank you, but they just want to have some more practice and see some more examples of how it's used. And where can you buy it? It is available from most bookstores, including Amazon. If you are overseas in other countries, you can check the Book Depository. It's another good website. And if you would like a digital version, or if you'd like to just buy it and print it yourself, you can get the PDF on our website. Okay, so this sentence here, 베이킹을 잘하고 싶지만 아직도 어려워요. This is the same sentence that we had in this last line here. And we do have a more detailed breakdown where we pull everything apart so you can see each individual component. And then what we do is we take each of these grammar forms and we show you other ways that you can use it. Still related to baking. So we have a short explanation of 잘 and 잘못. Basically, 잘 means well, and 잘못 means not well. So let's see some other ways you can use 잘 and 잘못. What about this first sentence here? 쿠키를 잘 만들어요. Cookie. Does anyone guess what cookie means? Wow, 한국어 아니네. Yup, this is Korean. And yes, English is also very hard. Any language is very difficult. Cookie, yes, madam. Cookie is cookie in Korean. Cookie. 쿠키를 잘 만들어요. So we have our 잘 meaning well and 만들어요. Once upon a Kiwi, yeah. I make cookies well. Or I'm good at making cookies. So if you can translate this to I make cookies well, right? You can say that in English and it's fine. Another way you could say is I'm good at making cookies. And what about this one here? 케이크를 잘 못 만들어요. 케이크. Anyone also guess what cake is in Korean? It's not a trick question. I can't make cake well. Yes, Grace. Once upon a Kiwi. Perfect. You got the whole sentence. Cake not well I make. So I can't make cakes well. Or I'm not good at making cakes. You could also say I'm not good at baking cakes is also fine. However you want to translate this, basically what you're saying is you can make cookies well, but you can't make cakes. Where can I get this book and what is its name? The book is called Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners and it is available on Amazon. You can see a link in our bio to get more information on it. So 잘 and 잘못 are really useful little expressions to know, and you can include them in your sentences in Korean to talk about things that you can do well and not well. So what about this next one? This is 고 싶다. 고 싶다, I think, is a grammar form that a lot of people will know. And yeah, lots of foreigners are studying Korean. Want to do, sheka, yeah, perfect. 고 싶다 is want to do. And it's attached to verbs. Yeah, you're welcome. 고 싶다 is to want to do, and you attach it to verbs. So what about this first sentence? 빵을 잘 만들고 싶어요. So what is 빵? Does anyone know this word in Korean? Are your books on Amazon? Yes, they are. Bread, perfect, yes. 빵 is bread. And I saw someone just say they're asking about intermediate books. We have an intermediate version and advanced versions of these books as well. If you look on our profile and go to our bio, follow our link tree and you can find intermediate versions as well. So bread, 빵. I know it's a fun word to say, right? 빵. So 빵을 잘 만들고 싶어요. And 만들다 is still the same verb that we have been using, meaning to make. But in this case, we've stuck on our 고 싶다, and it means you want to make bread well. So I want to make bread well, or I want to be good at making bread, or I want to be a good bread maker, however you want to translate it, it's fine. And in Korean, you can say 빵을 잘 만들고 싶어요. What about this next one? This next one's a little bit trickier, maybe. So we have 레시피대로 잘 만들고 싶어요. So what about this first word? Recipe. This one, you might be able to guess what this word means. Recipe. And then I'm going to talk about 대로 a little bit after. Recipe, once upon a Kiwi. Zert, yes. Recipe is recipe. There's also the word 요리법. 요리법 also can be used to mean recipe. And that's kind of native Korean that uses Korean words. But a lot of people do say recipe as well. So in this sentence, we've used recipe and then 대로. So what does 대로 mean? It kind of means to follow. So you can think of it as to follow the recipe. 레시피대로 is to follow the recipe. 잘 만들고 싶어요. So this second part is still the same as here. 잘 만들고 싶어요 and 잘 만들고 싶어요. Yeah, so Sheka, that's a good translation as well. I want to follow the recipe well, or I want to make well to the recipe, something like that. You could also say, I want to make it just like the recipe. So just like the recipe, following the recipe well, I want to make whatever it is I'm doing. So there's no thing specified that they're baking. In English, we have to use it. We have to say something there. Want to make it well. But in Korean, there's no object specified here. It could be anything that you're making. It could be a pizza. It could be some cookies. It could be, some soup, whatever it is. But whatever it is that you're making, you want to follow the recipe well. You want to make it just like the recipe. I personally struggle with this sometimes. Even though I'm reading a recipe, I don't follow it properly. So that's a good aspiration for me as well. I want to make it just like the recipe. 레시피대로 잘 만들고 싶어요. I want to follow the recipe. I want to make it just like that. Okay. So now we have 지만. And that was practicing 고싶다, things that you want to do. I'm from Nepal, so my English is not good. Yeah, it's hard, right? If you have another language that is not English, if your native language is something else, it can be really hard to find good resources for learning Korean, because everything I think is made for English speakers, including this book. So I apologize for that. But I'll try to speak slowly for all the people that are watching who don't have English as their first language, because I can appreciate how hard that is to use 3 languages at once. Wow, 사랑해요. 반갑다. Yeah. Hello. Okay, so 지만. 지만 means but. It means but, and it's used to join 2 clauses together with the meaning of but. So let's look at some examples of how this is used. So we have this first one. 레시피대로 만들고 싶지만 잘 안 돼요. So 레시피대로, this is the same thing as before. So according to the recipe, or following the recipe, 만들고 싶지만, I want to make it well, right? I want to do that. That's something I want to do. But here's our 지만. But something else happens. Star. Yeah, perfect. 잘 안 돼요. But I just can't. It just doesn't work. It does not work for me. 잘 안 돼요. It doesn't turn out the way I want. I want to follow the recipe, but 잘 안 돼요. It doesn't happen. Yeah. Thank you for the roses. I want to follow the recipe, but it turns out wrong. That's also another possible translation. 잘 안 돼요. So you just have another, the base form is 되다, but it comes 돼요 when you conjugate it. And then lastly, 영어를 잘하고 싶지만 잘 안 돼요. Yeah, Kageyachu says he wants to study English or wants to be good at English, but it doesn't work out. Yeah, I relate to that. It's true. Okay, true for me as well. Okay, so what about this last sentence? 베이킹을 시작하고 싶지만 시간이 없어요. So what does this sentence mean? 베이킹을 시작하고 싶지만. Does anyone recognize this verb 시작하다? Does anyone know 시작? Yes, star. Yep, okay, you've got it already. Good job. What about for other people here watching? Let's take it a little bit more slowly. Felix, Valleycromp, yes. 시작하다 means to start something. So 베이킹을 시작하다, the 시작 means to start. So we still have our 고 싶다 part. Our 고 싶다 is to want to do. So I want to start baking, but once upon a kiwi, yes, but 시간이 없어요. 시간이 없어요 means to not have time. I want to start baking, but I don't have time. This book is Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners, and this is what the cover looks like. Feel free to screenshot it if you want to try and find it later. It is available online. Okay, so now we looked at how to use 고 싶다 in a sentence. Now let's look at, we looked at yeah, 지만 and 싶다. Now let's look at this very last one, 더. 더. Specifically, we used it when we were looking at 아직도. 아직도 is still. And this 더 particle literally means to or also. It's attached to nouns. Oh, my dog. Oh, no, he's walking away. Okay. Means also, or to, or as well. But you can add it to 아직. 이 책을 어떻게 샀어요? Try looking on Amazon. If you can't find it on Amazon, try a website called the Book Depository. And if you want a PDF, you can 우리 웹사이트에서 살 수 있어요. You can buy it on our website. And that's in our profile, in our link tree. So this 더 literally means to or as well. But when you use it with 아직도, it adds emphasis. It adds emphasis to 아직. So in these sentences here, it's also been used with 아직, and we're going to look at some more sentences that use 아직 to mean still. So the first one here, 베이킹 학원에 가지만 아직도 잘 못해요. So this word 학원 is a very difficult word to translate into English because we don't really have 학원 in the US. You could translate it to like academy or like after school sort of center or something like that perhaps. But a 학원 in Korea is kind of a special thing that you see in Korea where it's a place usually children go after school to take extracurriculars, like it could be anything. It could be languages, it could be baking, it could be swimming, it could be piano, like it could be anything. And most Korean children go to at least one 학원. Some go to more than one, sort of every week and things like that. But this is a baking 학원, so it's kind of like a baking class. Yeah, cram school is also a good translation. Cram school is good as well. After school club, yeah, that's also good. They're very common in Korea. A lot of people, actually sort of English speakers, go to Korea to teach in hagwons. You can get jobs teaching English in hagwons in Korea, and you work with little kids and you teach them English. So my business partner, the co-author of this book, actually the main author of this book, Chelsea taught for several years at a hagwon in Korea. At an English hagwon. But a baking hagwon would be a place where you go and you learn to bake. And you bake with other people, you follow recipes, and you make things. Yeah. So even though you go to a baking hagwon, 가다 here is to go. And we have our 지만, which is the same thing as before, which means but. And now we have our 아직도, still. 잘 못해요. I still can't do it well. So, I'm going to baking classes, but I'm still bad at it. Is a possible translation. I take cooking classes, but I still can't cook well. Yeah, this is specifically about baking. So usually baking is used for things like cakes and cookies and things. But yeah, even though you're going to baking classes, you still can't bake very well. This book is called Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. If you guys, I don't know if you guys can hear my dog barking outside, but if you do, he is a beagle, so he is very loud. Okay. So now this last sentence. 베이킹을 자주 하지만 아직도 많이 실수해요. So this is kind of similar to the last one, but it's just a little bit different. So we've got 베이킹을 자주 하지만. Does anyone remember what this 자주 means? We had it earlier, or you might just already know this word. 자주. It's a very common word in Korean. It's a good one to know. Once upon a Kiwi, thank you. 자주 means often. 자주, often. 베이킹을 자주 하지만. So I often bake, but, here's our but again. But 아직도 still 많이 실수해요. And again, I'm putting this still in capital letters just because this 더 is adding emphasis. That's what the 더 is doing. 많이 실수해요. What about this word 많이? Does anyone know what this word means? It's 1:30 and I'm here. Oh my gosh, thank you for joining. Hope you're not too tired. Why is it 하지만 and not 지만? That's a good question. I'll get to that. Yes, 많이 means 많이 means many, or much, or a lot. Yeah, perfect. Many, a lot, much, any of those things. So you ever got a question, why is it 하지만 and not just 지만? So the reason is this 지만 needs to be attached to verbs. It needs to be attached to verbs. And this is the verb, 하다. So this is why, because the full verb is 베이킹을 하다. So 베이킹을 하다 is the verb. And you take away 다 and you put 지만. And it's usually when you have words like 자주, it goes in between the noun and 하다. It doesn't necessarily have to, but usually it does. So that's why we end up with 베이킹을 자주 하지만 아직도 많이 실수해요. So what about this last word? 실수해요. This is a verb. Does anyone recognize it? 실수 is a noun. You might know this noun already. And you can actually turn it into an action with 해요, with 하다 as well. 실수하다. It's to do a certain... Oh, that's my dog. One second. Hi. You want to come inside? Mistake. Jian, yes. 실수하다 is to make a mistake. Or mess up. Mess up's a great way to translate it too. Thank you for the roses, Hyung-song. Thank you so much. 실수 by itself is a noun. It means a mistake. But you can make it into an action with 실수하다. To turn it into to make a mistake or to do a mistake. So, 베이킹을 자주 하지만 아직도 많이 실수해요. I cook often, but I still mess up a lot, or I still make a lot of mistakes. Hello, sister. Are you coming live tomorrow as well? I am not coming live tomorrow. The next one will be Wednesday. But I hope you have a good class, and I'll see you later. What does AV mean on point 3? That's a good question. What does this AV mean? So A stands for adjective, and V stands for verb. It's a little shorthand that we use throughout this entire book to show what you can attach this grammar form to. Because some grammar forms can only be attached to verbs, some can only be attached to adjectives, some can only be attached to nouns. So this little shorthand just helps you know how you can use this verb. In this case, 지만 can go on either adjectives or verbs. See here, 더 can go only on nouns. This book is Conversational Korean Grammar. Feel free to screenshot it. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, so now we've looked at some more grammar explanations, some more grammar breakdowns, and shown some other examples of how you can take one grammar form and apply it in other situations to make more sentences. Do you do videos like this as well? Mostly on lives, I do videos like this. Okay. So now, what do we have here? Now we're going to practice one specific grammar form. We're going to do some practice exercises using one specific grammar form. And this grammar form is 을 수 있다, 없다. You're a good teacher. Thank you. Thank you. I like, that's very nice of you to say. I appreciate that. Okay, so what is this grammar form? Well, you can attach this form to an action verb to talk about ability. Attach 을 수 있다 to say subject can, and attach 을 수 없다 to say subject can't. So this is a very useful grammar form that you will probably use often when you speak Korean. And yes, I do post recordings of live streams on YouTube, so you can watch those as well. Now, if you were to buy this book, we do have a little QR code that takes you to a short PDF giving some more explanations on rules and things for conjugation. But in this one, I'm just going to give you a very quick breakdown on this live stream. So basically, we take some verbs and you add 을수 있다 to say that you can, or 을수 없다 to say that you can't. For example, say we have a verb 가다. 가다 means to go. To say that you can go somewhere, you add 을수 있어요. And that means I can go. Whereas, if you change it to 갈 수 없어요, that means I can't go. So that's a very quick introduction to 을수 있다 and 을수 없다. If you want some more explanation on those, you can go Google them or check out our grammar book. We have lessons in our grammar book. But let's look at some examples of how to use this grammar form in Korean. So, 한국어를 잘 공부할 수 있어요. Amazing. I'm glad that you can study Korean well, that you're good at studying Korean. That's what we should all aspire to do, to be good at studying Korean. I hope I can be like you as well. Okay, so this first question, we are asked to translate I can play the piano into Korean. And now we have some vocab words supplied. We have piano and 치다. Where can I buy the book? You can buy it on Amazon. Oppositely, I want to study English well. Yeah. Sometime we can make questions also. Yes. 갈 수 있어요 would be a question, and 갈 수 없어요 would be a question. And that would just make it into a question as well. Can I go? Now, that's a little bit confusing because in Korean, you don't need subjects, right? There's no subject here. So, 갈 수 있어요 can either mean, like, I can go or can I go? Either way is fine. It could also mean, can he go? Can you go? Can she go? Can they go? It could mean anything like that because Korean does not need subjects. And similarly, 갈 수 없어요 would be I can't go, or I did the same thing twice. Can't I go, I suppose? Either of those is fine. It's very multi-purpose. Korean is very multi-purpose, and it's very common to leave out subjects. So that you don't have to specify who you're talking about in Korean. In fact, in many situations, it's more natural just to let everyone figure out who you're talking about. Whereas you can't do that in English. Okay, so I can play the piano. How would we say this in Korean? So we have the pieces given to us. We have piano and 치다. So let's put this into a sentence. So piano. Julia, perfect. We're going to have 저는 as an option. You can include 저는 as an option in Korean. You don't have to write it, but it's there if you would like to. It's easier to gossip about people in Korean. Yeah, that's true. It's also easier to make misunderstandings in Korean too. So, piano를. Now, the reason that we're using 를 is the object particle because 치다, this verb to play, is an action. So you perform an action on a verb. In order to do that, you need the 를 object particle. 피아노를 칠 수 있어요. Perfect. I see people saying this. Now, because 치다 ends on a vowel sound, you just add 수 있다. And it becomes 수 있어요. 수 있어요. This book is Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. 피아노들. You could say that if you wanted, but it's a little bit strange because you usually don't play multiple pianos. You usually just play a piano. So if you say 피아노들, it would be like I can play multiple pianos. Maybe if you're really specifying that you can play lots of pianos, maybe even multiple pianos at once, maybe you would say that. But I think more naturally you just say 피아노를 칠 수 있어요. I can play the piano. Okay, what about this next sample, next sentence? I'm really tired, but I can't sleep. I'm really tired, but I can't sleep. I think there are always times like this, right? That we've all felt this at some point when you're really tired, but you just can't sleep. So we have some vocabulary words to use. We have 너무, which means really. It also means, very or a lot or too much. And we have 피곤하다. 피곤하다 is to be tired, exhausted, worn out. That's 피곤하다. And we have 자다, which means to sleep. So how do we put all this together? First, let's start with this first part. I'm really tired. So to do this, we're going to have 저는. Now again, you don't have to write 저는, but you can if you like. Can I ask a question about question 2? Yeah, sure. What question do you have? Where can I get this book? This book is available on Amazon and the Book Depository. We have PDFs on our website. It's also available from Barnes & Noble. If you're in the UK, you can get it from Blackwell's. Just look around, you'll find it. So, I'm really tired, but I can't sleep. 저는 너무, I'm really tired. Tired. 피곤하다. We're going to use our tired as well. 피곤하다. But we have this but, right? But. So how do we use that? We're going to use our 지만. Our 지만 verb. We learned about 지만 actually on the previous page. But you can attach 지만 to any verb to say but that verb. Okay, once upon a Kiwi. Perfect. Rian. Perfect. Good job. You guys have got it. 저는 너무 피곤하지만. Now we have to sleep. Now, 자다 is to sleep, and it ends on a vowel sound. So the 리을 goes underneath. 잘 수 없어요. Remember, 있어요 is things that you can do, and 없어요 is things that you can't do. The book is called Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. Now, this little character 수 in Korean literally means ability or way. And 없어요 is to not have. So when you say 수 없어요, you're literally saying, I have no way to do something. Question, why do I have to use the 에 to a season in Korea? Oh, are you talking about like a different chapter perhaps? So basically the 에 particle is used for times. So when you're talking about time words, like seasons, like if you're talking about in a season, you would use 에 because you're indicating a time. Yeah, chapter 2 is a season chapter. Yeah, right. Yeah, but that's why. So 에 is used for indicating times. Thanks, it's Mira. Yes, that's what the book is called. So, 저는 너무 피곤하지만 잘 수 없어요. I'm really tired, but I can't sleep. What about this next one? This next one should be fairly simple to do. I can read Korean. All right. 한국어를 할 수 있어요. Rhiannon, perfect. That's a great translation of I can read Korean. You have a lovely English accent. Thank you. Technically, I'm a New Zealander, but I know our accent is kind of similar to the British accent. Now, we have this verb 읽다. 읽다 is to read is what they've supplied, and we've also been supplied with 한국어. So if you were just given this sentence, I can read Korean, there's a lot of different ways you could translate that. You know, you could, instead of 한국어, you could say 한글, things like that. But we're going to just use the words that they've given to us to make this sentence. I can read Korean. So again, we have 저는 as optional. You can include 저는 if you like. 저는 한국인입니다. 안녕하세요. So 저는 한국어 is the Korean language. 한국 by itself is the country of Korea, and 한국어 is the language of Korean. And we're going to use the object particle again because this is the object of our verb 읽다, to read. Perfect. You guys are getting it really well. Hi, is there a digital version of this book? Yes. There is a PDF version you can buy on our website for $15, 15 US dollars. So in the previous examples, notice how this lir is going on the bottom, and that's because these verbs end on vowel sounds. 치다 ends on a vowel sound and tada ends on a vowel sound, but this 읽다 ends on a consonant sound. It has a 받침. That's what these things are called in Korean. They have their own name because they're so important in Korean grammar. So in this case, we're going to add 수 있어요. I can read Korean. What about this next one? I can also eat spicy foods well. Okay, so we have 매운 음식 is spicy foods. We have 잘, which means well, and we have 먹다, which means to eat. So let's use these words to make this sentence in Korean. I can also eat spicy foods well. So starting off with I, we can have our optional 저는. Now we're going to say what it is that we can eat. So we're going to start with this 매운 음식. 매운 음식 is spicy foods. So the paperback is $35. The PDF is $15. So the PDF is a little bit cheaper if you would like to do that instead. You can actually buy the PDF and print it. Oh gosh, thank you. 매운. Thank you. You can actually buy the PDF and print it yourself if you like, but it'd be kind of expensive because this book is, I think, about 250 pages. Drunk, amazing, good job. Okay, so I can also eat spicy foods well. So we've got spicy foods. Now I've got to put in this also. How are we going to do that? Now, Drunk has already given the answer away a little bit, but that's just because he was so smart and so good at this. But 매운 음식, to say also something or as well as something, you can add 더. You can add 더. And that means also. Now, this is only used for nouns directly like this, but 음식 더 is spicy food also. Spicy food as well. So also spicy food. I can eat well. We used this 잘 a lot in the previous pages, right? So, 잘. And now we have 먹다. Now this verb as well also ends on a 받침. It ends on a consonant sound. So when you add 수 있다 to this, it's going to become 먹을 수 있어요. Alright. 저는 매운 음식도 잘 먹을 수 있어요. Could you put 더 on a subject like 나도? Yes, absolutely, you can do that. That is very common, actually. 나도 in casual language is me too. And 저도 in formal language is also me too. You can actually make this a full sentence by adding formality, 저도요. That's a very common expression. Me too. Why not just 먹어요? You could actually just say 매운 음식도 잘 먹어요. That it was actually kind of a fine translation for I can also eat spicy foods well. But we're asking people to practice this 을 수 있다 없다. So that's why we've used it here. How can you differentiate between 잘 sleep and well? That's a good question, right? So we have a 잘 here, this one. And we have a 잘 here, but they are not the same 잘. They are not the same. These are not equal. And you kind of just have to know what's going on in the sentence. I know this 먹다 is a verb, so I know that this can't be a verb. So that's kind of how I know that this is the grammar form 잘, meaning well. Whereas this, as I can see it being attached to su 없다, which I know is a grammar form, so I know this is a verb. So it's a little bit confusing, I guess, especially when you're a beginner, when you're not sure what's going on in these sentences. But kind of the more that you study and the more that you practice, the more you can differentiate these things and you know what's going on. Yeah, so it's a little tricky at times. There are certainly lots of times where grammar forms can look like nouns and vice versa. And unless you can pass the whole sentence, it can be confusing. So yeah. Okay, so this last one. I can make cookies well. Oh, also someone asked the difference between 또 and 또. So this 또 is it's attached to things. So this 또 is attached to nouns and it's not used by itself. But 또 is a noun in itself and you can use this on its own. It also means also. But this has to be attached to a noun. 이 쿠키를 잘 만들어요. 이거 맞아요? I can make cookies well. Yeah, perfect. You guys are already jumping ahead. Great job. Yeah, so I can make cookies well. This is the last sentence, and we're also nearly at the end of our live stream, but let's do one more. We have cookies, and 만들다, to make. I can make cookies well. So we're going to start with cookie. Again, we have our object particle because 만들다 is an action verb. It's an action that you perform on some object, in this case, onto the cookies. The cookies are the thing that you are making, so you use the object particle. And now, well. Well is our 잘. And now 만들다. Now, 만들다 is a little bit tricky. So you can see here there is a 받침, right? There is a allele, an L sound on the bottom. So you might think you have to add 을 수 있다. But lil is a tricky one. It's another example where you kind of, in this case, you just kind of ignore the lil. And it becomes 만들 수 있어요. You don't need to say 만들 수 있어요. It's kind of repetition. It's weird for your mouth to do. So you just say 만들 수 있어요. Okay. 그것이 귀엽다. 감사합니다. Just saying my handwriting is cute. 바람이 귀여운 카라트리나. 감사합니다. Yep. Thank you. So yeah, so those are some examples of how you can use 을 수 있다 in your sentences to mean things that you can do or things that you can't do. This is a pen. My coworker bought this for me on Amazon. I think it's called Friction Erasable something. No, she bought it at Office Max. Damn it, I just joined this live and this is exactly what I need. I'm sorry you missed it. I will save the recording and I will put it up on YouTube. So if you want to come back and go through this post live stream, I will do that. You can do that. Our next live stream will be on Probably Thursday this week at 6 p.m. Central Time. Do you know the answers are visible? Yeah, that's fine. We've already finished. It's done. Just there, if you do buy this book yourself, we do have answers at the bottom. Yeah, it's actually a pen. Are there beginners you recommend for beginners? So this book is designed for beginners, but it's kind of for upper beginners perhaps. I do recommend our grammar book as well if you're new to Korean. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Kakachu. See you next time. So this is our grammar book. I recommend this if you are newer to Korean. It takes you through sort of from an earlier beginning. And you start sort of with these sorts of things, the more introductory stuff. Thanks, Once Upon a Kiwi. Thanks for being here. Good to see you. So I recommend this book as well. Someone also earlier asked about higher level stuff. So you're the opposite way, and this is too easy for you. If this is too easy for you, I recommend our intermediate books. So this is book 2. There are 3 books out right now. And this book is just prompts, space to write. And we also have in here examples written by native speakers. So this is much more suitable for intermediate and advanced people. There's prompts, and you can read, really natural Korean from native speakers. And you can also answer prompts yourself. And there's YouTube videos and all sorts of fun stuff. So if you're at a high level, I recommend these books. If you're at a lower level, I recommend this book. And if you are in between, if you like this, then check out this book. This is the book I've been using in this live stream. Am I native Korean? No, I'm not native Korean. I'm originally from New Zealand. I've been learning Korean for about 5 years. And my colleagues have been studying Korean for longer. The main author on this book is actually Chelsea. Chelsea's been learning Korean for 14 years. And then we also worked along Eugene. Eugene's a native Korean speaker. She also did a lot of work on this book as well. And it is available on Amazon, yes. Eugene also designs all of our beautiful covers. She drew this, which I love. I love this picture. Eugene did this as well. So when do I usually go live? I usually go live at 6 p.m. on twice a week. Usually on Wednesday or Thursday and on Saturday or Sunday. I don't have a specific date and time necessarily because my schedule changes as well. But yeah, usually either Wednesday or Thursday and either Saturday or Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Time. So this time minus an hour for wherever you are in the world. Right now it's 7 p.m. for me, and I started at 6 p.m. So just subtract an hour from whenever you are, and that's the time that I usually go live. But yeah, thank you guys all so much. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. And if you want to watch it later, you can always check it out on YouTube or follow for more in the future. Am I fluent in Korean? I'm pretty confident with, basic things. I can get my way around pretty okay in most situations. Bye. Thank you for being here. So yeah, that was everything. If people have questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I will close it out. But I really enjoy these live streams. It's always fun to be here and practice Korean together. I really love having everyone participate and having everyone, put in their answers and ask questions. So it's a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. And I'll be back again this coming week. I usually do Wednesdays. This week it's book club on Wednesdays, so I'll be probably doing one on Thursday this coming week is the plan. Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much. Question, do you live in Korea? Not right now. I did live in Korea in 2019. I lived in Korea for that year, and I really, really enjoyed it. I loved it there. Would happily live there again, but right now I live in the US. Yeah. Thank you. Is it GMT plus 8? That's an excellent question. I don't know. It's Central Time at 7 p.m. here right now. Thank you, Queen. Thank you. Okay, everyone, thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you later. Hope you have an excellent evening. Do you sell it on your platform? My platform? We sell it on our website, if that's what you mean. If you go to our profile, our bio, there's a link to our website, and you can buy the PDFs there, and there's links to the paperbacks there as well on our website, gooseapplebooks.com. Or you can just follow the link in our bio. In our bio. I keep saying bayou because that's like a river in Texas where I'm at right now. Anyway, all right, okay, I'm going to close this out. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Tame bio.